When I saw you, I would lose control. Made me feel like there was no tomorrow. Should've told you that you're beautiful, but the days pass and now it's so long ago. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it and did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? It's too late now, 'cause I'm growing old, but I need you to deal with my sorrow. Just a memory, just a broken frame, and I know that I have no one else to blame. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it and did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Should have told you that you're beautiful.
Well. Good evening. It is 5 o'clock. It is Saturday, the 22nd of September, and it is time for CAD Like Nobody's Watching. So Fire Up Fusion or your CAD of choice, and join me for an hour of playing with CAD. Just hanging out, really. That's the theory. Just spending a bit of time learning the tools, playing with design ideas, chatting about what's going on. And I like to start by a little recap of my day, mostly just to remind myself what I've been doing. And so we'll do that now. Let's have a look. Today's been quite busy, actually. I seem to feel like I did a bunch of kind of different things. Let's have a look at the old Instagram feed. Actually, we'll start quickly with, if you've been watching it before or previous episodes, I've been working on this dust shoe. So I quickly finished this off the other day, added another profile on the outside here to create this little trough for some bristles, printed it off, and wound up. Let's see. So this was the various things, I guess. We've printed off the different parts, attached our dust, like the hose screw adapter, printed off this bottom level, and today I painstakingly basically took out all the bristles from a masonry brush and used a hot glue gun and just basically attached them all in there. It looks a little bit messy, but not too bad. I added all the magnets, way more magnets than I think is strictly required, but it makes this really satisfying noise when you click it on. So I did a little video of that, just clunk into place. It's fantastic. And you can see there, like, because of the magnets, it just aligns, it just wants to snap straight onto those, which is fantastic. So I also gave it a bit of a test run. So this was me just doing one of the jobs I've been running recently a lot, creating these little profiled oak strips for a door that I'm working on. So this was just a few bits of video of that happening. I wasn't quite sure with the bristles whether they would get in the way or if they would cause any disruption, because they are quite stiff laterally. But generally this worked fantastically. I've done loads of these CNC jobs without a dust tube, so I know the difference. Oh, and this was just me showing the, like, because the hose is screwed on, like, it can just drag it around. It's fantastic, worked perfectly. So that was very satisfying. And yeah, pretty much very little debris left, certainly no real dust left, compared to previous runs I've done of that, where it just ends up with dust and oak strips all over the place. I also did do some video footage. I'm probably gonna do a sort of a full YouTube video just on making this. I haven't entirely decided, but this was just some footage where I was showing off the bottom of this cowl lines up pretty nicely with the bottom of the collet. So it doesn't matter, like, you would never want to go deeper than that in a cut. Well, you can't go deeper than that in a cut. So whilst this kind of does obscure the view, just showing off that fits nicely. So there was that. What else did we do today? I didn't take any pictures of. I put up a blind in my wife's study. That was pretty easy, and I've been working on fixing our bathroom. Oh my goodness, the saga of the ensuite that I built, I did 2 years ago. Been having some leaks, very, very slow leaks through, unfortunately, staining the ceiling of the room below. But I've pretty much tracked it down to when I did the tiles on the floor. One of them didn't quite set with enough support, and so it had a little bit of movement when you step on it, and I think over time that's cracked all the grout around it and, like, broken the seal on some of the places where there should have been a seal. And that has let water through underneath a partition wall, which didn't have any waterproofing underneath it. It's a whole big thing. Anyway, that hopefully is on its way to being fixed. I found this great, really interesting product, actually. You basically drill some little holes in the grout and you squirt quite a liquid, I guess it's essentially like a leveling compound adhesive type thing. So it kind of flows underneath your tile and fills up any cavities. And the theory is over the next 24 hours that will set, and hopefully that provides a nice solid bed, so the tile won't shift anymore, and then I can redo the grout, redo the seals, and fingers crossed that will be that. But that's not what we're all about today. Today it is CAD Club time, and so I've got 3 different projects on the go now that the dust shoe is done and built. I'm going to start with this one, which is where I got to last week when Fusion decided to crash on me, which is me mean that I can drop a can in it. This seemed like the quickest way to do what I want without building a whole new one. We'll see. I'll come back to that in a sec. I'm probably going to finish on this, which is tweaking this axe handle design. I'm not totally happy with the shape and style of this, but this is one of those, like, I feel like I could probably kill loads of time as I fiddle and tweak, so I don't want to get kind of too into that too soon. So the other thing I might play a bit more with is I've been toying, I mean, this doesn't look like anything at the moment because I've barely started, toying with the idea of making a pencil sharpener. And we'll talk a bit more about that when we get there. So I think balcony bracket, can holder, then pencil sharpener, tweaking, because I might just explore that space a little bit more, and we'll finish on the axe handle. That is my plan. If you have joined live and you've fired up Fusion, jump in the chat, let me know what you're working on. Always interesting to hear what is going on. So with that said, let's get on with this, and hopefully we will get time out of this without it crashing. So the first thing, or the thing I realized at the end of last week, is that what I wanted to do was actually make this disc, this whole thing, just a little bit wider than this base, because I realized that what I could probably do is design it so that it clips up around the outside, which will hopefully make a bit more sense in a second. So I'm just gonna, right, so that gives us the same exterior profile. So I had this idea that I'll create a block that comes up here with a little clip on it. So how do I want to do that? Let's try. Yes, I guess the thing is I need a tangent plane, I think. Yeah, that looks right. Oh, except, was that really? No, I kind of want a tangent plane that's lined up with that. So let's get rid of that fella. Not you. I really kind of want to get rid of some of the sketches that are getting in the way. Get rid of that one. There we go. So let's try this again. Tangent plane, but I kind of want you to be there. That looks about right. Let's see. Let's see what we get. So I want to sketch on this plane. I just want to take this. Do I want to project that? No, I don't want to project that onto the surface. I probably want to make it a thing, and then I can fill in the gaps in a minute. So let's make you like 2 mil deep, and then yeah, what about joining you in a sec? Do you think I should make this profile, if I actually shift this in and use these as tools to cut it so that it actually does have that radius on the inside, that might work. That might be a good place to go with this. Let's just kill that bad boy. Move him in. I kind of want to move him towards the center. So, come on. There we are. Do that. Let's say minus 0.5. Maybe not even that much. This is going to be one of those things where I'm going to do this in CAD, because in CAD you can see this much detail, and then I'm going to print it. It's going to be completely lost to the precision of the actual machine. But what the hell? Let's combine. And yeah, I want to use you and you to cut, but keep the tools. And then, so that gives us a nice snug fit. And then I think what I want to do is just put like a little hooky bit on here. Let's do that with a sketch attached to this fella. No, I probably wanted to, come on, let's try that again. So the trick here is going to be the fit and the size of it. I think that's That kind of needs to come down a wee smidge more. But what I will do is I'll put like a little internal angle on it, which might help when it's okay. So we now have a profile, and let's extrude that across the face. Across that face, except I don't want to make it a cut. The fact that it's defaulted to a cut makes me think that I may have a little bit of trouble. Whoa. What? What the, yeah, I don't want to join with, let's say, new body for the moment. Need to make sure that I join it with the right things. So that's the other thing I can do, much as I just did with the side strut. Let's do a combine move. Again, I suspect that in reality, the precision with which I will print this will not really matter in the real world, but for the sake of argument, that should now be a perfect fit for that point. So let's combine you fellas together with a join. I don't need to keep the tools this time. And then what we're going to do is rotate him around the outside, create a circular pattern which mirrors the. So let's select this axis. Whoa. I said select this axis. That is not the right axis. Let's select the axis which is. There we are. Oh. Is that true? Yeah, no, I think we're good because the base is on the same axis as the top. It's just a different size. So we want 4, and in theory, just like that, they all line up to exactly the right points with our 4 whatnots, and we should now be able to do another combine where we join all of these together into one glorious print, like that. And then let's just switch off pint glass holder, and that's what we're left with. So I think what we want to do is chamfer in some of these so that they're a bit more beautifully attached. I don't know. Do you think there's going to be enough flex in that? I think that should be fine. Okay, so let's just go around and select all of these interior corners to do a fillet, and then we'll be good. We'll get that'll look nicer. I'll print it in this orientation. What I don't know is, I think the amount of overlap that I'm looking for on those hooks is so small, I should be able to print it without any spots. How smoothed out do we think? That's probably fine. That's probably fine. Okay, so we just print it like that, and then I'll be able to clip it on the bottom of my pint glass holder and adapt it to something that can hold a can. Okay, happy with that. We'll just kill that off. Let's excuse me. Let's just quickly export that to Slicer, just to give it a bit of a look over so that we can see. I don't think I could set it printing now. I could, potentially. Would that be a good idea? We might even have it ready by the end of the hour. maybe not. It's probably ambitious. But we'll fire up Slicer anyway, because who doesn't like loading up all of these CPU intensive tasks at one go? Well, I probably... Oh, that's interesting. I did not... Huh. That's interesting. I did not intentionally do it. I thought I just closed one thing and opened another, but it looks like it's magically loaded my new part. How about that? I shan't ask how it did that for the moment. Okay, no supports, just slice. Let's have a look. Bum, 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 bum. That should be fine. It's pretty small. It's a very thin part. Let's export it, see how long it's going to take. I still wish that Slicer would tell you how long it's going to take at the point that you slice it. I don't understand why it doesn't calculate that until after. Balcony bracket. Let's do bottom clip. And it reckons, drum roll please, 55 minutes or 59 minutes on silent. Okay, that's not going to be finished in the time that it takes to do this, so it's not worth me faffing with a 3D printer whilst also talking to you guys. So let's kill that again. So job 1, done. Job 2, pencil sharpener design. So let me explain what I am thinking with this. So recently I designed a little pencil attachment for scribing for my brother, which was pretty cool, came out quite well, quite like it. And as part of that, I got to thinking about pencil tips and how, I guess how pointy they are, I suppose, is perhaps the answer. In fact, here we go. This is a pencil with a bunch of the scribers on them. So the problem is, in order to get this like on the shaft near the tip, you kind of want the distance between here and here to not be too great. But obviously, if you push it further down with a long taper on there, then you lose kind of grip on the pencil itself. And this is exacerbated by people who, in a workshop, use their box cutter, Commissar, to just, sharpen a pencil the old-fashioned way, because that often ends up with something which is even more long than a pencil sharpener. So what I was thinking about was, well, it would be nice to be able to have a pencil sharpener to make a slightly more stubby end, so that you kind of can bring this distance in a bit. And so I got to thinking, I wonder if you could make a design where you could just take the box cutter, stick it into a piece of plastic, which would hold it at just the right angle relative to a cylinder or a tapered cylinder, so that it would act like a pencil sharpener. So that is what I was thinking. Now, I have this with me because I do not have a model of a standard box cutter, and I really want one. Or rather, I need one in order to, or something close, in order to be able to really properly model this. So, carpers out. I did have a quick look. I know that you can import parts from Mastercard or whatever for some things, but I did not see the option for the razor blade. So I'm just gonna check this out now. I don't know if you can hear a low rumbling in the background, but I live near a Duxford airbase, and wow, there are some really cool planes flying pretty low over the house right now. I guess they are having a display. The advantage of living nearby is that most of the planes have to fly practically over my house to get there. Oh wow. 2 Spitfires in formation. That's pretty cool. Okay, so tip to tip, we're talking 61. It is pretty crazy right now. It's like, I didn't say, I don't know if I don't think the mic is picking that up, but wow. That's pretty cool. So how thin are they? That's pretty important. Ooh, less than 1 mil, which makes sense. I feel like the biggest challenge for this idea would be creating a slot good enough on a 3D printer that's got that tolerance. Because a classic pencil sharpener has the blades screwed down, and I kind of don't. Well, obviously, I can't do that if that's what if my design is to be able to just slide something in. Okay, so let me think about how to do this. I basically want a rectangle which is 61 by 20, oh no, 19, 61 by 19. Let's just quickly do that. Doesn't really matter which surface I do this on at the moment. Let's just do this. So we are 19 deep by 61 wide. Then we have the top surface is actually looks like 32. Maybe a gnat's over 32, but we'll call it 32. So what's the best way to do this? Let's draw a line. We'll make it 32. And then I want to dimension you off of here to be, what did I say? That was 61 minus 32 is 29, divided by 2 is 14 and a half. So that's that. And then if I take you down to there and take you down to there, that's our razor blade basic shape. It is, I said, just shy of 1 mil. Let's say that is pretty, let's see, 9. Just trying to sort of get a little bit more accurate than just, it might even be 0.6. That looks like 0.6 to me. Maybe 0.62. Let's say 0.6 for the moment. So he's pretty thin, and then the blade itself tapers in on both sides, which is interesting. For some reason, I had it in my mind that it was tapered, it was flat on one side and just beveled to that. But it is beveled on both sides, so the question is, how deep of a bevel do we have? That looks to me to be about 1 mil, just over 1 mil. Let's make it 1 mil in the design and see where we go from that. It doesn't need to be like the most perfect rendition of a box cutter blade in the world. It just needs to be fairly close. So let's draw a line from there to there at 0 degrees, and then drop you and make you 1 mil. Oh. Make you 1 mil. Oh, what have I done now? That is over constrained all over the place. Okay, let's try that again. What? Why did that? Oh, you're in degrees. I don't want degrees. That's a ridiculous. I want the distance, not the. why? So that's really interesting. It seems to think that I want to constrain the relative angle and not the distance. That's very annoying. Okay, let's not do it that way. Let's get rid of that line. I reckon if I draw a line that is not connected, and then I do this, cool. That's more like it. 1 mil. So what is a good way to do this? I guess I could just tape. Oh, what if I probably could have done it this way in the first place. That would be better. Oh no, I don't want to fill it. I want to chamfer. Let's just chamfer it. We'll do a 2-directional chamfer. We'll not make it equal distances. We'll make you 1 mil, and we'll make you, I guess it's 0.3. There we are. Perfect. Okay, so that is a razor blade. I will call it a box cutter blade. Now I want to orient it relative to my let's move from there. Let's do that. So I made a wee slot in this earlier to try and visualize the sort of rough idea. So if I chuck you in there, and so I think it was, see, that's really interesting. I feel like I was, oh, I tell you, haha, here's an idea. Let's do that. Let's align this face to this face. So that is, from that direction, the right kind of distance. Okay, let's do that. And then let's align. Now, will it work or will it cause problems? Align you with, come on. I want to align that front edge of my razor blade with no, not like that. Okay, I'm not going to do it that way. Let's just rotate it and see if that looks any better. So let's just so I need to do it in the axis of, oh yeah, relative to that. Let's take you 5 degrees off, and then so you need to be better than 5 degrees. That looks pretty close. So if I just do that, I think for this to cut properly, I really need to keep not the edge of the blade flat to the cylinder or to the cone, but I need the bevel to be flat to the cone. So what if I do that? So you see what I'm saying? That then is at a particularly weird and precise angle, which in theory presents the blade exactly where you need it to carve that cone. Maybe. So the other thing is that what I really... Let me try this. So one of the things I was thinking was that you would actually push the box cutter through from the other side compared to the pencil, right? Because if you think you've got your box cutter in one hand, I'm thinking you drop your block on it, hold it on like that, and then your pencil in this side. If you have it in the same side, then you're going to cause yourself trouble. So I think it needs to come out that way. That's what I'm going to base it on anyway. So questions abound. For a start, let's just cut that slice out of this random block using the tool of the box cutter. Let's cut it, keep the tools, and then let's turn you off for a second. So you end up with that profile. Now, I feel like that presents correctly against this, but what have I cut there? Blimey. But what am I thinking? I'm thinking that printing this, well, a couple of things. Printing this is going to be complicated, and if I ever wanted to cast this, which is super cool to do if you need a load of them, then I think this is going to be problematic. Decidedly problematic. Yeah. So the question is, do you think you could literally get rid of most of this material? Like, how minimalist could you go with that design, I wonder? Like, if you just held it in your hand, would you be able to hold the edge of a blade against a block without it providing that retaining surface? Not sure. Not sure. And part of me is like, I'm not really sure how to test it. What I want to do, I think, is split this body in half along that line there and get rid of you. So what we're talking about is basically this. If I switch that on, you stick your box cutter in. Now this has this overlap lip, which is beautiful, but I don't think I'm going to be able to manufacture that. More realistically, what? I mean, that's really just a tiny amount of the tip as well. If you think about the scale of an actual knife blade, you're really holding something against, which makes sense because it's not a very long bevel on a pencil. Not really a very long bevel on a pencil. But also, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit. I mean, this has been interesting, useful. I'm at the point now where I am thinking about the construction itself. How plausible is this as a thing to do? I mean, that gap obviously needs to be opened up anyway. Why have I got construction planes in my way? So pencil sharpeners are often open on one side. So I think I probably need to nail off at least a portion of this surface into that hole. I wonder, let's have a look at what that looks like. So if I sketch on this surface, let's just extend you out to there, what the hell. And if I then drop you back by that much, okay. So now we have most of the cone, no retainer for the blade. Not really, I'm ignoring this surface and this surface. You just have an angle there to hold against and a butt stop to hold against there. Would that be enough? I think, and is that even quite enough of an angle? Maybe, let's bring the pencil in a second. The virtual pencil. So that's what you're looking at. Stick it in, rotate it round. Maybe that could work. It could work. So I'm tempted. Clean that up and print something like that off. I feel like I could probably cast it if I can keep that side open. The question is going to be, how easy is it? How safe is it to just hold that block in place? The other thing is, I'm just going to lose this thing. I kind of had originally this idea that I would also, like, this would be just another thing with a pencil that you could kind of leave attached to the pencil. But I think that's something else that's going to make this like massively unprintable. But let's just do this and see whether or not. So if I do that, if I literally carve it out of the chunkiest section there, let's do that, make a hole, cut, keep the tool, thank you, get rid of the pencil. So you have that to stick on the side. If I bring you in a bit, I don't really need that much. I can probably bring this corner down. If I do that, what does that look like? So you're going to want to hold on to it. Yeah, I do not know. But let's that. It does eat into that a little bit more. Tidy this up. Drop to there. That's a bit of a weird whatnot. Let's just. Oh no, that's not gonna work. If I bring you in, no. Sometimes you end up with these little weird glitches. I don't really want to deal with that right now. Given the time, let's. So switch off the box cutter. It's a bit of a weird shape, that's for sure. That is for sure. But potentially not impossible to cast. Certainly not impossible to print. I think I'd print it in this orientation. So this is the base. So that cylinder runs right up. This cones up. This prints out. This is probably going to be a disaster. Sharpener. All the cool kids drop vowels from the things that they name. Oh right, yes, that's why I opened, because I left this dialogue selected to send a 3D print utility, which is awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's do that again. So yeah, this is probably a terrible idea. I'm sure there it feels like there are probably a lot of reasons why this is not going to work at all. I'm a little bit concerned about that line, actually. Let me turn the box cutter back on. Why? So you in theory supported. I'm realizing that I cut. Yeah, I cut this notch earlier. And I kind of want to not have that cut because that is not supporting the bevel all the way along anymore. Glad I spotted that. So yeah, I want to fill that in. Now the problem is, of course, I used the back surface of this slot to do an alignment move earlier. So I can't just ditch it from the timeline. But what I probably can do is extend this fella all the way up to there. So that gets rid of most of that weirdness. Okay. And yeah, that looks right. Box cutter, because it's so very thin. But okay, so let's just save, do you again. I won't import it into Slicer now because we're running low on time and I want to spend more time on the axe, and this is supposed to be about CAD and not 3D printing necessarily. So here's the axe. Here's the axe, and here we go. So the thing that I think this back line is kind of garbage. I want it to be a smoother line. So like, I'd like this sweep in. I think the sweep out wants to be nicer, and it probably wants to curve around again. So I've got this set up for a mirror line. let's just select everything there. Edit form. So if I do this, that's sort of a little bit more to the end that I was thinking, and then I think these, and probably these need to come out a bit. So I drag those back. If I do, yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, the idea, I guess, was that this would sort of fit your hand in a nice way, and I'm not so sure at this point. What I want to do, I wonder if I kind of want to smooth that. Is that a thing that I can do? Is that a thing that I can do? Not interpolate. Switching the location of the surface in the control points to improve fitting. Select whether to move the control points to the surface or the surface to the control points. I don't think that's what I want. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. What happens if let's just try it. I suspect that what I want isn't really possible, but yeah, that's not at all what I need. I definitely struggle. I kind of almost want to be able to modify this. Like, I want to be able to select this, and it is a T-spline, and I kind of want to be able to say, just let me modify it exactly like that, like exactly like a just smooth. Can I do that? Can I say smooth? I should probably spend some time actually learning a bit more of details. I mean, I guess the whole point of this is that I'm learning by doing and trying, which is pretty good, but I suspect is quite frustrating. Oh, removes pinching near star points. Oh no, that's not helpful. Don't insert an edge. Don't insert points. Restores previously creased edges, so I don't need to do that. I may just have to pull it around until it's kind of closer to what I want. So if I wonder which line, that's a good question. Which line do I really want to mess with to smooth that? I think that's probably the way to do it. Just boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Because if I do that, I create a weird bulge. Whereas what I want to do, oh, not 10, like 2. So there are definitely some creases that I'm not completely convinced about. And this shows, this highlighting indicates I've come out the back of my theoretical bounding box. Still not happy with that line. kind of want to take you and you and you and you, which are kind of the back edges of those two bumps, and drag them out a wee smidge. Let's just come up to I'm not sure. Oh, see, you know, I don't want to. No. I didn't want to do that. I was moving in. Probably wanted to go that way. That's more like it. 2.1.4. So that's a little bit of a smoother line. I don't know how much I need to agonize about this particularly, because I think I mentioned last time I'm not necessarily going to CNC this out, more just print it for a for a template. Now I'm not sure about this twisted end bit. I mean, it kind of looks alright, but I've got a weird geometry in here now. Like, what is this? That is not at all what I intended. I feel like sculpt is just one of those, maybe if you were actually good at sculpting, then you would be better at this. Maybe if I take just the vertex in the middle, that's a little bit better. But yeah, maybe if I was a sculptor, then I would find it easier to work with the sculpt tool, but I tend sort of feel like I get into a bit of a mess. I mean, it makes for an interesting pattern. Show me the edges, that's a little bit easier to see. But now I think that this is a little too tucked in. Let me bring this surface. So let's say you and you and you and you. And let's just bring you out a wee bit in this direction. And oh no, I've lost my selection. That's no good. Bum, bum, bum. Oh my goodness. I've just noticed the time. We are so close to GMT o'clock. I probably need to wrap this. What am I selected on? Like, bring that way out. Right. Oh, come here. No. Come on. Stop messing around. Okay. So that makes him chunky at the bottom, which is not necessarily a bad thing either. Give you a hefty grip in the hand with a bit of a whippy neck. I quite like that. It's getting better. It is getting better. It doesn't look like I've changed very much. But Let's finish form for the moment. It could work. It could work. Something like that. Something close. I do like this kind of curvy back. Swept back like that, and then a ripply. Okay. Well, anyway, we are out of time. Out of time for today's session. Been a quiet one. Nobody's been watching. That's at least partly par for the course. But I will be back. I nearly said I'll be back tomorrow at 5. I won't be back tomorrow at 5. I have other things to do, so I will be back in probably 1 week at 5 o'clock for some more CAD like nobody's watching. Yeah, we'll see what we do then. In the meantime, have a good weekend. Play with CAD, learn things, and I think we'll start playing some outboard music. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. If this is your thing, I mean, honestly, if you're seeing this part of this video, you're either already a subscriber or about to be a subscriber, because I cannot imagine a casual person getting this far without being pretty into it. Anyway, that's it. See you next time. I really got to be better at my exit. This has been Make Geek. I've been Dan. This has been CAD like nobody's watching. See you next time.